Yeah, hello and welcome, Warjack's Workshop. I'm actually going to show you something today that a lot of people don't realize about when it comes to your gaming hobbies. Magnetization. Magnetizing actually has where you have the major benefit, at least, of you're not stuck having the model one particular way. If you have where you want the model to have a different weapon, you can just swap it out, and it's good to go from that point on. Sometimes you're actually going to kick where there's a real tiny piece that you don't want to magnetize, but you have to have it attached to the model to actually field that specific model. Today I'm going to use an example of that using one of the cruisers from the Scourge from Dropplate Commander. They actually have where they have these tiny fins in the front, like a mask, that actually goes over some vents that you can't tell all that well because of the lighting. I'm going to apologize now, this is only a Logitech webcam. I'd hope to actually get something better by now, but this is all I got. That's life, though. And in order to actually fit that little piece into the mouth with a magnet, you've got to look at a couple of things. When you're going to place a magnet, especially in like this case, what you want to look at is where can I hide that magnet the best? In this case, what I've told people online is to shoot for this top section right in here, which will be on the top section there. But once the pieces are together, you won't be able to see it all that well, because it's going to be hidden. That's what you want to shoot for. Tools you're going to need are obviously your typical super glue. This is just generic stuff from Walmart. The only thing is it has where it's a lot thinner and gets into places that you don't want sometimes. If you ever get it on your hands, easy trick to getting it so you don't pull your fingertips, your fingerprint off, is to twist your finger. Do not just pull. Your average pen vise. I'm also going to end up needing an ink pen, paper towel to dry some of the super glue off real quick if it actually gets into my hand or onto the model of a place I don't want. And of course, your magnets. These are real tiny. These actually are Magcraft magnets. The diameter is 1.6 millimeter, with the length being 0.8. In case anyone's curious, basically, they're half as thin as they are wide. That's what it breaks down to. In case you're wondering, you might as well get used to using tiny magnets right off the bat. That way, in case you ever need to use them for something extremely tiny, you're good to go. So we're going to start off with a simple enough area of figuring out where is it going to work best with holding the piece in from falling. And as stated, my point is actually right there. We're going to go for the curved, where the curve is actually at its highest point there. Typically, you're not going to want to drill like this, because yes, at some point in time you might have where you will hit an air pocket, and it will go through the plastic further than what you expect. And you could be pulling a Stewie Griffin moment from Family Guy of what do I do? Do I pull it out or do I leave it in? But with Hawk War Games' plastic, this stuff has where it drilled a little better than what you expect, but it never hurts to have the hole a little deeper. So now that we've got the hole done, what we're going to do is we're going to use our magnets to an extent. The fun part about magnets is the fact of since they stick to each other easily, you can actually just stick them at a nice long rod basically to the point where you can just press them in that way. Another thing handy to have, if you can get it into that space, is a small thin piece of metal. One of the things I'm guilty of using is just a typical toenail clipper file, especially the smooth side. So what we're going to do is just dab a little super glue onto the tip of the one magnet. You don't need that much. And this is the reason also to have the nail file handy. That way if more than one magnet wants to stick, you can get it out real quick. But at the same time, you want to leave that one on there so you at least know the angle every now and then. Because once you put it in there, if you put it in the wrong way, they are going to be a pain to get out. Now, this is where the ink pen kicks in. What you're going to want to do is remember where your magnet is. But if you have a problem with your memory, even a short area, or since it's actually that much of a pain, just mark on the plastic where your line is to the magnet. Once you just have a small enough mark, and the reason, even though it's not leaving much to use an ink pen, is because the fact of unless you press hard, it won't mark it severely. You could also alternatively use paint. But now that I've got that marked, I can go over here, put in a piece, and mark in a piece where it goes there. Real tiny, real faint marks. Now the problem with this mask is it's actually two pieces. It's not just one. So what's got the chance of happening is you've got a chance that whenever you actually drill into there, that you can accidentally drill through. So we'll get, you can see the line there. We actually have to drill right close by that line. You have the chance of accidentally drilling through that seam and just busting your super glue to those two pieces. On top of that, it doesn't help that it's got a curve right there where you're wanting to start your drill. If you have this problem, one of the things I actually recommend and don't recommend is resting your finger close to it. That way it'll at least prevent some of the slip. You don't need much pressure, and turn it back and forth at first. Do not just spin it all in one way. Otherwise it will spin off like a top at some point. Just like it did there. The objective is to drill the model, not your hand. And once you have a small enough good start going, Then have at it. And voila. Now, the magnet that we actually left, in this case I was a putz and left it on the fingernail clipper. What you want to do is you want to go back to it, make sure you've got the side that repels stuck to your metal surface. If it actually attaches, what's going to happen is you're going to push that wrong end into the plastic. You want that magnet flipped. So once you turn the magnet over and it pushes away, you know you're good to go. Now again, just a little bit of super glue. Just a little press. And the second magnet is in place. The other advantage of this El Cheapo super glue is actually a disadvantage as well. It dries fast. But once you've done that, voila. You've magnetized your model. The magnet, you know where it's at. You know where to look. However, once you put a paint on it, unless you're looking real close, you can't see that magnet. Once you get used to it, you can really have fun with it. This actually is a mech from Heavy Gear. The Heavy Gear universe has a lot of different mechs to them. My thing is those backpacks. With this one, you have several different steps you can actually do. One of which is it has a massive anti-personnel rocket pack that goes on in the center, this flat section right here on the top. If you look in the center, you can see a magnet. Okay. However, alternatively, you can actually put the cannon on it, to which the cannon has two different pieces to it. You can actually glue them together, or you can magnetize them. There's actually two extra magnets in the bottom of the backpack as well. Thanks to being primered, you can't see, but it just fits right on there. Now what I did with this was I cheated. Anytime you have a nice curved surface, and in this case the turret has a curved joint there, if you want to be able to repose something, cheat and take and clip out some of that curved surface. And what I did was I actually clipped off a small bit of a paper clip that's got enough metal into it. Insert a magnet into there, and now I can actually re-angle the turret whatever position I want. Sometimes you're going to want to watch it with the paper clips, though. You need to find out 100% it's actually going to stick to it, because some of them have just a very fine amount to the point where they won't actually have a magnet stick to them. But Again, once you actually get used to it, you can actually swap things out. It's like there's actually a magnet in both the bottom and top of the arm. That way you can change the weapon loadout. Right offhand, I'd show you some 40K models even, but unfortunately I got rid of some of my 40K stuff, including stuff that was magnetized. And with 40K models, what I'd actually do is I'd actually go after just your typical 2 points where they make contact with the weapon. The one being where you actually cut the hilt off of weapons. And then the other is if it's actually touching the second hand's palm. Normally they have where the weapon is in the left palm and being held in the right hand. In that case, I actually just drill out the hole in the palm in the left hand. Put a magnet there, put a magnet in the gun stock. You're good to go just by that one, depending on it. Sometimes you'll have to go with 2. If it's the whole arm, you can do the magnet in the arm instead. Like, say, for instance, if you go after a heavy weapon squad sometimes. Just actually magnetize the arm. That's all there is to it. So it took so long. And if all else, happy magnetizing, and have fun with it.